Well, hello, everyone. This is Nikki Keohoho, CEO and co-founder of the DSWA and Coach Excellence School. I'm so happy that you're here with us for the Introduction to Coach Approach for Sales and Service. Thank you for joining us from one end of the country to the other end of the world. It's all good, and this is your time. So we want to make sure that you get your questions answered. So you can use the chat box if you'd like to. During the call or at the end, you can stay. I'm going to give you time for answering questions and to work with you. If you've got any background noise at all, you want to hit mute on your line. That's down in the lower left-hand side where it says mute. Get that down. You can just draw an arrow across it by touching on it, and that will mute out your line. Otherwise, just stay with us, and you don't have background noise because we'd love to have you talk and share. So lots of people coming on right now. Well, let's get started because this is kind of a short call. So we want to make sure we get as much in as we can and be as supportive of you as we can. So again, this is the Introduction to the Coach Approach for Sales and Service. This is our newest class that we've been teaching other than the Coach Approach for Couples. We just launched that a couple of weeks ago. But this Sales and Service one has been a real home run because everybody that is in direct selling would like to sell more and have greater service for people and make your business easier. And that's what this is about. Everything that you learned here is also going to support you in what you're doing. Oh, okay, we got to have somebody mute out there. I don't know who that is. Sounds like you have a jump roper, or else you got someone playing hopscotch. I don't know which it is, but we'll just try and quiet those little kids down right away. So here we go. Let's get started. So we're talking today about the old school versus the new school approach to engaging people. In the old school, we kind of convinced people. In the new school approach to sales and service, we are actually engaging people, which is a whole different ballgame. So old school, we used to give them lots of information. We used to tell them everything that they ever wanted to know and more. It was like information, let's blast them, with whatever we got. Let me tell you about the company. Let me tell you about the products. Let me tell you how the products work. Let me tell you about the features. Let me tell you about the benefits. Blah, 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 blah. We blasted them with all this information. But remember, information does not create transformation in people. Information doesn't move them to take action. They get information everywhere. So they go into information overload. Have you ever looked at your audience, whether it be on Zoom or live, and they're dazing and glazing over? That's a hint. That's a hint. So either you're giving too much information or you're not engaging them. So old school was provide features, benefits, lots of information, and tell them everything they wanted to know without knowing what they wanted to know. The new school approach is actually asking questions and listening, being present with them, not trying to tell them everything, trying to give them what they're looking for, what they want to know, and what they would like to see happen with this product or this service that you may be offering. So it's a little different than what it was in the past. So we want you to grab this new school approach and run with it. So if you want to have more fun with less stress, you don't need to feel like you're being pushy. See, in the old days, we had to just convince people so much to do something that we felt like we were being pushy, and that didn't feel good to us. It wasn't fun, and it felt stressful. We don't want you to. We want you to enjoy the journey. We want you to love sharing your products and services with other people. We want you to love engaging them, making them feel valued and valuable and important, like you understand them. That's what this approach does. Because when the old way we used to do it, it was just like they'd say, throw them on the wall and see who sticks. Well, it was sort of like that with customers. Just throw the stuff out there and see who lands, who says, I'll buy something. It's like chasing them down. I had a lady that needed some coaching around a subject, and it was that she just didn't want to call people. She didn't want to get on the phone and call people. And what it came down to, what was behind the curtain for her, and that kind of came out of that, was that when she was a little girl, somebody used to come to their door and their parents used to say things like, uh-oh, here she comes. We don't want to let her see us. Let's hide in the kitchen. So her opinion of a salesperson was somebody that nobody wanted to see. And she carried that with her most of her life. Well, you don't want to be the person that nobody wants to see. You know, there are people that walk into the room and everybody, I'm just so happy to see them. They smile, they're so excited. And there are people when they leave the room, we go, oh, yay, she left. This is so exciting. You don't want to be the second one. You want to be the first one. So have more fun with less stress because you are engaging, because you're making it fun, because you care about them. You're finding out what they need, not what you do, what they need. That's what this is all about. So a big part of this course, when this goes, we have a full class that's taking place, and it's called the Coach Approach to Sales and Service. It's 5 1.5-hour classes, and you're going to learn a lot of things in that class. I can touch on it tonight to give you enough to make you just think about it and to be aware, because if you leave tonight, I want you to receive value. That's what's important to us. So understand others and then be understood. It is so important to listen, be present with people, understand their behavioral style so that I can speak their language and connect with them, have rapport with them. So if your first option is to really understand that person, you don't have to be understood. You don't have to. Being understood comes later because you got them. You connected with them. If they are talking fast, you talk a little faster. If they're speaking a little slower, you speak a little slower. If they're using words like, the bottom line is you adjust for them, because when you are listening to understand and you totally get their behavioral style, you will make a much more solid connection, and sales come with ease. It's like sharing and they get it. Isn't that a fun thing? I love that. So how does this all happen? And every one of these subjects we go into in length in the course that we're going to be teaching. How to be engaged and engaging in your communication. How to make a real life connection with somebody. Because guess what? Sometimes what happens is we don't engage that person. We talk circles around them, but we don't know what they're even looking for. You all came to this class for a reason tonight. You came because you wanted to know something, or you wanted to learn something, or there was a reason that you came. Type into the box, what are you looking for? I do have my fan on, Angie. Thank you for asking. I'm so sorry. Give me 1 second. I was on a class the other night and the fan was in the background. So give me 1 second. I'm going to take it off. Ignore it for 1 more second. I actually put it on low, 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 and you still could tell. Does it sound better? Oh, good. Sorry about that. Next time, anybody send me a note and say, we can't hear you. Okay, that'll be helpful. It looks like I have a couple of I can't hear with the background noise. It's a little tiny fan. So now you're going to all notice I'm going to have sweat coming off my face, but we're going to ignore that too. Okay, much better. I'm so glad. You're glistening. Yeah, glistening, it's sweat. I'm just saying it's not glistening at all. Okay, so that's the idea, is that we want to engage people. The old days of convincing people to do something didn't do well for any of us. Engagement is a whole different thing. I'm going to mute a couple of people that look like they just came on because I don't want their background noise. So I think everybody is muted now. So be aware. Are you engaging someone or are you convincing them? Are you with them or talking at them? Are you real? You know, it's so funny. Somebody said to me one time, I didn't feel out. Somebody said to me one time, Nikki, when you're like on Zoom or you're in person stuff, it's not like an act. It's not like a show. It's like who you really are. Being authentic is a really, really important facet. Nobody's going to die if your fan is on. Nobody flipped out. Nobody was going, oh man, her earplug fell out of her head. No, they're not looking at all that stuff. Just be you. You're much more engaging when you're yourself, not trying to act like somebody else. I can't be anybody else. I'm not very good at it. I've tried it one other time. I had a lady one time said to me, Nikki, you need to stand behind the podium and read your slides. You know, if you read your slides, you'll stay right on track. You know, you're not really that funny. Don't try telling a joke. I don't tell jokes. I don't. But, you know, I sometimes laugh at myself and I have fun with what I'm doing. Well, anyway, one time I tried to be what this woman thought. She told me I also should wear all black. Look what I'm wearing today. And she said, oh, you need to wear all black. You'll fade into the curtain. You'll look really skinny. I thought, oh, that's a little scary, isn't it? Okay, so I tried all that. I wasn't comfortable, and neither was the audience. So to engage people, you got to be you. And it's okay being you. In fact, it's a good thing being you. So let's take a look here at questions are the answer. A big part of the new approach to sales and service is to ask questions of others. That's part of the engagement. Be curious. Connect with people. So example, if I was doing something with skincare products, instead of saying, how do you like that? That is a question, but it's a closed-ended question. What am I going to do when they say, oh, yuck, I don't. I'm in trouble. What do you like about this product? What feels good on your skin? You know, what would you like more of in your life? Maybe it's nutrition. Who would enjoy having a little more energy? That would be a good nutrition question. And your parties or your activities, whether they're in Zoom or not, it is important to take the time to ask the question to get the engagement of the people. Let them type into the box or let them speak out, but let them get in their head. Make them think. You see, your brain has to work 6 to 7 times harder to answer a question. You keep people engaged when you ask questions versus statement. You know, we're the #1 skincare company in the world. Oh, well, I read so-and-so where some other place that, no, that you're number 10 now. You used to maybe be, and you start a whole new deal versus saying, you know, many, many people consider us their major source for skincare. What are you looking for in a skincare regime? That's different. I don't want to put up a bunch of objections. Remember, with questions, you don't create objections because people do not object to their own answers. So if you're getting a lot of objections when you're selling your product, it's probably because you're making a lot of statements, and that will not be effective for you or for the other persons. So the questions do not have judgment, and they come from a place of curiosity. They don't come from the place of knowing everything. You ask questions you don't know the answer to. That's another little tip. When you're selling product, ask a question you don't know the answer to. So one of the best things, if you were doing a virtual event right now, one of the first things you could do at the very beginning is say, you know, you all decided to come to this show tonight, or this, whatever you call that event, you all decided to come. I'm curious, what brought you? What made you decide to come? Type into the chat box. I'm curious, what made you decide to come? What would be a win for you tonight? What are you looking to discover? One question at a time, pause, even if they can't answer, because sometimes I'll have thousands of people on a call. I still ask those questions. I just pause, let it sink in. Then maybe I'll type it in the box, but for sure they're thinking about it. That's what we want them to do. So to be exemplary at sales, we've got to ask more questions versus making statements. Now, another key factor that we go into at length in the full course is about listening and how to listen. You know, children, we say to them, "You're not listening." Well, sometimes we never taught them how to listen. We never taught them. We taught them how to talk, and then we wonder why they keep talking and don't listen. Listening is a skill. It's a skill that is important for all of us to learn. Listening gives us information about that person so we can be of the greatest service to them. This is a big key, folks. We listen to serve. We don't listen to sell them. We don't listen to convince them. We don't listen to tell them. We listen to be of service to them. The type of listening that we teach is called heart-centered listening. Heart-centered listening is very different than internal listening. Internal listening, you're in your head. You're thinking about what am I gonna say next? How am I gonna overcome that objection? I already know what she's thinking, judgment. So I'm prepared thinking about what I'm gonna say. That's not the kind of listening. When you have heart-centered listening, you understand the meaning behind the words. Let me say that again. When you have heart-centered listening, you're practicing that. You're listening so much that you understand the meaning behind the words. And by the way, this is for everybody in your life. You ask your partner today, "How was your day?" And he goes, "Oh, fine." Don't say, "Well, dinner will be ready at 5:30. Fine had meant something different. It wasn't fine. Stop what you're doing. We don't need to multitask, ladies. Stop what we're doing and be present. What does fine mean to you today? I'm curious. That didn't sound so fine. How are you doing? If you take the time to do that, they think you read minds. People ask me that all the time. Do you read minds? Of course I don't read minds. I've never been able to read minds. I'm pretty good at listening. Someone just said, "I would like to improve my communication with customers and be able to come from where they are and be with them." That is so powerful, Linda. It says that you're doing it for the right reasons. You're doing it to be of service to them, which is a beautiful thing. So your communication, it isn't so important with what you say. You know, people think it's all about what you say. It's how you say it is more important. You look at communication, I'm just going to throw this out there. You drew a piece of pie. Let's pretend it's a clock from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock, and then go back to the center from 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock. So there's 3 little hands on there. That first little piece of pie from 12 to 1 is the words. 7% of all messages are the words that we use. That's it, the words. 38% of the message, so that's from 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock, 38% of the message is how we say those words, how we say them, our voice, our pitch, our tonality, the rhythm to those words. 55% of every message that we give is what we're doing with our body, our physiology. It's like looking at someone and going, "Love your hair." I said I loved your hair. Why do you think we have so many challenges on texting? So many misunderstandings. All we're working with is the words. And like I am big on words. We have a whole part of our training is on enlightened vocabulary, learning how to use words that empower you and other people. So words are very important, but yet what's happening? That's why Zoom is so valuable. You can look at people. I can see your face. Let me bring you all up here. I want to see your faces here. Beautiful faces and you chicken livers that are hiding. Oh, thank you, Miss Angie. You came out of hiding. I'm so glad. But I see your faces. I see what you're doing with your body. I see how you're with it or not. You're hearing me. Now, if you're going, eyes rolling, or snoozing, that's worse, head down, snoring. Those are hints. Pay attention to what's going on with the people that are in your events. That's the big important part of it. So heart-centered listening, being present, 100% present with people. Listen to the meaning behind the words. Don't cut them off. Don't finish their sentence for them. Let that person complete. And by the way, silence is golden. It's called Heaven's Gap. There's nothing gonna happen. Your face won't fall off if you zip your lip. It won't fall off, I promise you. This is a way. Now, with people in real life and on Zoom, you don't want to do this. It looks a little strange. You will have puffy lips. That's one good thing from it, but it looks strange to the person. But when they don't see you, just close your mouth. Otherwise, you can do this. Everybody do this. Just put your hand over your lip, because it's not how much we're talking, folks. It's how well we're listening to what they're saying and the questions that we're asking. So listening is a key factor. You're going to learn all about heart-centered listening if you can come to the class. I want to just put some time in for this right now, because I know that not everybody understands this part. So I want to touch on it. And this is about the different kinds of levels of listening, because we've all experienced it. Lowest level of listening is ignoring. And I don't know, but sometimes some people don't respond. Maybe they heard you, but you have no clue that they heard you. So they think you're ignoring you, which we feel rude about. Then we got the ones like teenagers. Mom, that's an obvious one. At least we know they're ignoring us. But in most instances, ignoring is very disrespectful. Pretend listening. Flush. We're doing something else. I'm just saying, if you're pretending to listen and you're not really hearing, you don't know where to go with that conversation. Because the coach approach, they are leading. You are following their lead. You can't follow their lead unless you're listening. So pretending isn't going to work. Selective listening, you hear what you want. So here's selective listening in a sales scenario. Oh, I'd love to buy everything. Well, great. Let's get you written up and let's go. You didn't let them finish the sentence, because the rest of the sentence that they actually probably said was, I'd like to buy everything, but I have a budget of 0. And you go, well, let's get you signed up and get ready. You missed it. And that would have been a huge opportunity to talk to them about how they could get those things for your high price as a hostess item, or how they could earn income through the business. You missed an open, wonderful opportunity because you had selective listening. Not so good. Attentive listening used to be the highest level of listening. You listened and then responded with an autobiographical response about me. So, I'm so glad you love the product. And I do too. And my favorite product is blah, blah, blah. That's autobiographical, all about you. In the coach approach to sales and service, you shine the light on them. This is about them. It is not about you. It is about them. Keep shining the light on them. And then, of course, heart-centered listening to the meaning behind the words. I just noticed that lady has a tattoo. What does it say? Stay gold? Can you all read that? I've never seen it before. I don't know why I missed it. Does it say stay gold? To everybody turn your head. Let's see what you come up with. Stay gold. I'm typing that box if you can read it. I'm just curious because I want to make sure you're listening. You got it? Does it say stay gold? Maybe because she's wearing gold jewelry. I don't know. Okay. Anyway, let's move right along. Next. Finding out your customer's preferred method of communication. It's not what's easy for you, maybe. It is what is going to get them the results. So one of the first things you do if you're going to follow up with somebody, find out their preferred method of communication. Now, some of you hate texting and you don't want to learn. Find a 9-year-old. Because they know how to do this and they can teach you. I promise you, it isn't that hard. I have kind of fat thumbs. So, it's a little harder for me than other people. But there's autocorrect. We love that. Find out what works for them and communicate in their manner. It may not be your favorite. Doesn't matter. Do you want to make a sale or not? Do you want to be of service to that person or not? So is it email? Is it texting? Is it phone calls? Is it Zooming? Is it in person? What is it? Let them tell you. How would you like me to follow up with you? When would you like for me to follow up with you? And by the way, when they say, oh, next week, the beginning of the week or the end of the week, the end of the week, Thursday or Friday better for you? Oh, Thursday. Morning or afternoon? Afternoon. 2 o'clock sound good? 2 o'clock. That's an appointment, folks. We don't make appointments. We say, I'll call you next week. That is not an appointment. Then we wonder why we're frustrated when they don't respond. No. So when they say 2 o'clock, say, I'll block that time off in my calendar or my diary for you Australians, in my diary, and commit it to you. Will you do the same? I'll block that time off in my calendar or my diary and commit it to you. Will you do the same? If they can't commit to a phone call, don't hold your breath, folks. They're probably not going to be there for anything else either. So find out that method of communication. There's lots of ways to do that. This I don't have time to go into today, but I got to tell you, it's a very powerful thing. Strategic communication, the 5-minute conversation. We sometimes take way too long to communicate with people. And we go on and on and on and on. They're glazing over and they have turned you off. So how can you get your point across in 5 minutes and have a strategic conversation? Be clear with what you're going to talk about. Be clear with what they're wanting to hear, what they want to know. Be clear with what questions you're going to ask in there to keep them engaged. It's all part of that. This one thing will massively increase your income in your business. Learning how to do things in a shorter period of time. Because we got so many people right now, their whole life, how are you doing? I sound busy. By the way, please don't tell people you're so busy. They think you're too busy for them. So instead of when somebody says, I'm so busy, I have a full life and I have time. I have 5 minutes for you right now. Or we can make an appointment, which is better for you. I have a full life says something very different than I'm so busy. You drain yourself when you keep saying you're so busy and you keep telling everybody you're so busy. Then they're going, well, quit your job then. Don't be doing that if you're too busy. That's not fun. So 5-minute conversation is a very special thing. We're also going to talk about how to acknowledge people, acknowledging your customers, using words besides good job or you're awesome, you rock, whatever it is that we've been saying forever that is a cliche that nobody even hears. Find ways to acknowledge people. People know you care about them when you use an authentic word that describes them. I have a warm fuzzy folder. It's in my cabinet. And every once in a while, if something doesn't go so well that day, I will get my warm fuzzy folder and it has words of acknowledgement. And I'll look through that and that's why I do this. This is who I am. This is why. People hang on to any little note you have. Send your customers notes. What you appreciate about them, a quality. You have such a positive attitude. I appreciate how resourceful you are dependable, enthusiastic. Follow up with a note to your customers that has words of acknowledgement. Acknowledgement is who the person is being, not what they did, who they are being. And by the way, that's with your husband, that's with your children, that's with your parents, your friends. Find those words. I have a group of friends that we went to elementary school together and all through high school and college even. Several of us went to the same college. We do Zooms about once a month with all of us on it. Last Sunday, it was 2.5 hours, pretty scary. But one thing that I notice is I'm the one that acknowledges the people. They haven't quite picked that up yet, but I acknowledge everyone for some quality that I see in them. Or when they make a comment, I'll use a word of acknowledgement. It's not just what you do, it's who you are, the being, the qualities. Learning to do that with your customers, it's a stickiness. people want to be around people that notice them. People want to be around people that care about them, who see who they really are. That's an exciting thing. I'm going to check my questions because I know this is a short class and I don't want to miss what people are asking here. Oh, nothing else yet. So make sure that if you have something, type it into the box there. So you're going to learn a lot about how to use acknowledgement and how to be authentic when you give it. This is new to us. Both Grace and I went this last year because of COVID. We really invested in our education also. So we became certified at the highest level in emotional intelligence and at the highest level in behavioral intelligence. A lot of time invested in making those things happen. And what we realized is some people have not quite got the idea of how to use that emotional intelligence. And we want everyone to raise that bar to become more aware. So we've included this in the class of how to increase that in yourself. The first thing is to be aware. You know, how do I use my emotions for the good? Now, here's a little bit what emotional intelligence is. It's a form of social intelligence that involves the ability, if you want to remember this, take a picture of it, involves the ability to monitor one's own and others' feelings and emotions, to discern or discriminate among them, and to use this information to guide one's thinking and action. So it is us having that ability to know and to understand. We can make a bigger difference for people when we even understand. Some people, one, don't show emotions. They may feel it, but they don't show it. And others show a lot of emotion, but they don't really understand where it's coming from or how it relates to someone else. So upping your game and emotional intelligence, guarantee will up yourself and your relationships. It just will. So when do your emotions work for you? Sometimes our emotions don't work for us because we don't even have control of our emotions. Our emotions are running us. And I'm going to give you a little thought. When emotions are high, logic is low. When emotions are high, logic is low. So if we are really upset, don't expect to have logic come out to the forefront. Now you can learn how to bring that emotional level down so you can have more logic. You can learn there. That's a learnable skill, which we'll talk about. But in the meantime, what you've got is if you're out of control, don't expect the conversation to have good results. It's not going to happen. And sometimes our emotion is another thing. I'm so excited. I'm just so excited. I just can't wait. I'm just so happy to have you be here. Blah, 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 blah. And we're so excited. And that person, excitement is at the bottom of the scale for them on what they talk about. You disconnected with them and didn't even know it. Just with the word choices. Listen to people's words that they're using and use words that matter to them. It's called speaking their language. Now, here's another one. When do emotions work against you? Especially in anger. They can work for you when you know what emotions are going on with that other person. And you have empathy, not sympathy, empathy. But when they're against you, if you're angry, don't expect results. I remember I went to return something at a store and the lady said, well, you can't return this. And I said, well, there wasn't a sign that said I couldn't return. I have the receipt here and it doesn't say that. She goes, well, that's our rule. And I said, then it's my belief that having a sign and having it on the receipt would let the customer know what was going to happen. And she goes, well, that's not how we do it. It's the only time I'd ever been in a store. I've never been back, by the way. But she said, if you don't want to take my word for it, I'll get my manager. So the manager comes over and the manager said, that's our rule. And I said, so how do you inform your customers of your rule? When they try to bring something back. And she said, since you're so difficult, I'll just refund you. Now that's a lose-lose. And I never raised my voice. I never was angry. I never made accusation. I just stated the facts. That's a lose-lose. So you give in, you say what you're going to do, but you do it in a manner that makes the person think you don't really even care about it. That's using your emotions against you and against other people. Not a healthy place to be. So we got a lot of things that we're covering here, and I want to give you the idea that for coach approach for sales and service is very different than how we used to sell in the old days. Once you learn this, people will love being in your space because you are there in service of them. You do listen to them. You do care about them. You do connect with them. You do understand them. And that's a whole new opportunity for you and for people that are around you. Because right now, I'm just saying to you, it's a competitive world out there. People think Amazon's not a competitor to us. They absolutely are a competitor to us. There are more direct selling companies than we've ever had coming out right now, coming into our space. Companies that have been in business 30, 40 years in retail are coming into our space. Those that have good service, those that engage their customer, those that use the new school approach to sales and service are always going to have bigger teams if they choose to build a team, and are always going to have retention. You see, coaching is the #1 retention tool in the direct selling profession. I'm going to say that again. Coaching is the #1 retention tool in the direct selling business. And this is a great way for you to dip your toe in the water to learn what coaching is all about. Here's the upcoming event. And because you were here and you stayed this whole time, you're going to get a great deal. You're going to find this course, the Coach Approach to Sales and Service, starts September 21st to October 5th at dswa.org/events. Go to that page, write that down, take a picture of it if you can't get it written down, and so you'll remember it. Because you were on this class, you registered and you showed up here, use the early bird code. When you get ready to check out, it is early 100. That's what you're going to say, early 100. You get $100 off this class. We've already reduced the class, so now it's going to come down to $249, and you can do it in 2 payments of $127. Get registered for the class for you to get this. There's so many new thoughts that are going to come to you. That's what everybody says. I've never heard this way. All right. I never thought of it that way. But they also get that it's not just for their business, it's for their life. And that's what I'm most excited about. In this business, it's about people. It's not about recruiting. It's not about selling. It's not about all that other stuff. That stuff happens when you understand relationships, when you understand how to connect with people. Now, lots of ways to connect with DSWA. Here's a bunch of things. Take a picture of that. We'd love to have you be a part of our community. We have insurance, group insurance. We have every Friday a new video, training video that comes on our app. Most of our work comes on our app. You won't see it on the website. So we'd love to have you be a part of that. Now what I'm going to do, you need to take a picture of that, do it. What I'm going to do is take down the PowerPoint and have us just be here. And this is an opportunity for you to ask whatever questions that you would like, or if there's something that is kind of bugging you, something that you're having the same kind of objection from people, or something that you're having, you don't want to be pushy, or you're afraid to cold call, because just that word cold call it's not very warm and fuzzy. Get rid of those words. Those are people you haven't met yet, people you haven't got a relationship with yet. That shift the language. Now you'll do better with that. Anybody that would like to speak up or be coached, you can type it in the box or unmute yourself, and I'm happy to do that for you because I want you to see the power of these skills. And if not, I was so glad that you were with us tonight. Thank you for joining us, and hopefully get to see you again. But I'm going to stay extra because you're worth that. And I want to see what we can do in order to support you, to increase yourself, to have the best service, and to have the best retention that you can have with people. So raise your hand. You're very welcome, Andrea. Glad that you were with us. And also thanks, Angie. Raise your hand or unmute yourself. Come on, guys. This is your chance. This is a freebie. Some of you are thinking, oh, I should let somebody else do it. You know, they probably need it more than me. No, this is your chance to be selfish. It is not selfish to ask for what you want out of life. Go for it. But you deserve this. Hi, Debbie. So glad you're here. By the way, Debbie is part of one of our books. Build It Big or More Build It Big, Debbie. The second one, More Build It Big. First book, Build It Big. Great. If you haven't got that book, order it online. It's a great book. So who would like to be coached or have an opportunity to ask any kind of question that you would want? Yes. Tracy.
Hi, Nikki.
Hi.
So I've got a consultant who I feel that I've been asking a lot of questions, and we're just going round in circles though. And then she actually feels that she's doing me disservice, but I want her to realize it's about her, because I know what her goals are.
So let's talk about that for a minute. I'm going to do a little bit of training for the whole group. What the questions that we ask are a specific type of question. When you first start coaching, those questions begin with who, what, when, where, and how. Write that down. Who, what, when, where, and how. Those are the 5 main starters. As you get into the advanced courses and other things, you'll learn other kinds of questions. But for right now, that's where you begin. Now, if you're asking a question and listening to them, if you don't move to agreed action and accountability, you're running in circles. You must have that skill to get them to agree to the action that they're willing to take and to be accountable to make that happen. So give me an example about what you've been coaching this person around. It was about their goals, Tracy?
Yeah, so she's wanting, so this recording stopped, hasn't it?
No, but I can, okay, so I can stop it. But this is really supposed to be about customers, and what you're asking me about is a team member. So I want to stop the recording. I'll come back to you and I'll give you some specifics for you, okay?
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Anyone else with a question, comment, or a thought? Anybody have a customer that you found to be challenging? Oh, yes, Miss Linda.
Well, I have a challenge as far as like the Facebook pages and stuff as to getting people to engage in them. Do you have a suggestion about that? I've asked questions. I've put product out there. I've done like engaging ads that have nothing to do with my product. And, you know, I've tried all kinds of different things, and I do a good morning in the morning and stuff, but I'm not sure what else to do.
Okay, so there's a lot of courses you can take on social media, but I'll give you some hints. The questions that you ask cannot be answered with a yes or a no. What is your favorite product? Or how are you using this? Or who's had some results from the magnesium product? You know, something that they want to type in and talk. That's a factor there. The other thing is asking people to do some testimonials, not online like that, in advance, having some of your team type in testimonials so that other people can get other ideas from them. Having interesting pictures, you know, in pictures can tell a lot of stories. And if you don't have iStock or an expensive, like we have to pay for every picture we do, but there are royalty-free pictures that you can get online. Just go royalty-free pictures about whatever that may be. And like, it's funny, I'm looking out my window here and my son had to cut down our papaya tree. And it really bothered me. I had to cut it down today, but there was something got to it. But I put a picture of my papaya tree and I'd get all this interest from people that would write comments and so on. So sometimes it's something that's just different or unique or that's happening around you, that if you put that in there, you getting them started coming back. Now, if you're a member of DSWA, we have thousands of social media posts,
Right.
and motivational quotes that you can pull and just copy and paste and put them in there. The thing is that you want to use, so it's not up to you to do everything. So asking those questions and say, first 3 people to comment, I've got blah, whatever that may be, a free ebook that you got someplace else, send it to them.
Okay.
You know, anything that will keep them coming back to see what's there. Asking other people to share, you know, something about what do they love about this new product? You know, what are before after pictures, because your skincare before after pictures really create interest too.
Great.
That helpful, Linda?
It
Perfect.
did. It is. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and we had several really good classes about social media, and I think that they're in the app from past videos. Anyone else with a comment or a thought or a question? Okay, then I'm going to stop the recording, and I want to say thank you to everybody, and you can stay on if you'd like for a few more minutes, because you always learn from other people. So thanks, everyone. We hope we see you in the sales and service class. And if you've already taken that, the next step is to go to level 1. And that is going to be happening in October, I believe. And you'll find that on that events page also. Thanks, everyone.